to do it, we'll go team by team. Probably be easier.
Yeah, that's good with me. And then what? Just how everyone ranks up against each other.
Yeah, we'll go team by team, and then we'll rank
team by team. Like, all right, I liked this pick for them. I didn't like this pick.
Right,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so with the Ravens, I guess the 3 picks that really stood out to me the most, obviously Patrick Queen, J.K. Dobbins. I obviously was really high on that pick. Mm-hmm. That was one of the reasons why I gave our grade the grade that I gave us.
Yep.
Yeah. But those two, like I said, Patrick Queen, J.K. Dobbins, and then Devin Duvernay. Mm-hmm. But I say, yeah, those are the 3 dudes that really stood out to me, man, in that class. Patrick Queen, I mean, he was pretty much probably one of the top 3 linebackers, like off-ball linebackers, behind obviously Isaiah Simmons and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But this dude, man, was prolific at LSU, could ball out, crazy athletic. And when you think about what the Ravens needed, they needed an inside linebacker, and he's not going to be the Ray Lewis type. You know what I mean? He's think more Ryan Shazier type. That's what he brings to the table. So I thought that was a huge pickup by them. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins, we were high on him here. Very productive at Ohio State, 2K on the ground, like it's nasty, could run. And then you think about what he's coming into with an offense with Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram that was already just crazy. Yeah. Now you're bringing in J.K., who's going to be fresher, younger legs than a Mark. And you also know that long term, if Mark is only there for another year, that's going to be their guy for the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. So for me, man, those two, I'm just like, dude, that's a major win in terms of the rich getting richer on offense and their defense, the rich getting richer, because that's a huge upgrade. I mean, before they drafted Patrick Queen, their best linebacker was going to be LJ Fort. And LJ is my dog, but LJ isn't on that type of level right now.
Yeah. I looked at the depth chart. Like, he's going to be starting, apparently.
Yeah,
he's going to be starting right off the back. So that was a big pickup for them. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on with them?
Well, even with the when you look at Justin, I think it's Mutabuke. Then say he said the D tackle out of Texas A&M.
Yeah.
He was another cat that was crazy productive, rushing the passer, stopping the run. He's gonna fit like that. Defense is already stacked, and they just add more pieces to that now.
Well, yeah, obviously their defensive line is completely loaded right now with Wolf, Calais Campbell. Mm-hmm. But with them losing Wormley, I guess they needed to bring in someone for some depth. So that was smart on their part. Now with Queen, obviously, you're definitely right. I mean, he's gonna be starting right off the back, so that definitely fills a need. And then with Dobbins, Mark Ingram, he might not be back after next year because there is the cap hit of, I think I was looking at this, it was $6 million. If they release him, it would only be a cap hit of $1 million. And he's getting up there in age. So there is that possibility. And knowing how the Ravens run their offense, it's running focused. So having an extra guy in there, a young guy you liked him a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, he was in the mix for who I wanted us to pick, but
whoa,
in the mix.
Hey, easy, Deke. Don't tell on yourself, man.
What? What do you mean?
You said you didn't want him. Remember, you said, man, when Claypool was on the board, I'd rather have Claypool over him.
I would, yes, but in terms of running backs, no. My main thing was.
So please tell me that. Please tell me, how could he have been in the mix for one of the running backs you wanted?
Yes.
When the running backs you wanted, we're going to have to go at that second round pick.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted a running back, receiver, linebacker.
You funny.
And we went receiver, and I'm trusting Colbert.
We're not talking about with Colbert. We said what you wanted.
I didn't care, dude. No. I didn't care, man. Because here's the problem: what I want, it's not necessarily right. It's not necessarily right.
Now you gonna discredit yourself for the greater good of the team?
Well, yeah, because. Dude, here's the thing. Like, looking back, I was trying to think of picks that I'd want or didn't want, and then what happened. Okay. I mean, a big one was Pouncey. I didn't want Pouncey because Des Bryant was still on the board. Yeah. So, think right there. All right. It's worked out pretty good. So, what I want is not the best necessarily.
Even though between Pouncey and Des Bryant, I don't really think either one would have been a bad pick.
Nah, but I mean, at the time, like, we did need some line help. But
yes, like Pouncey changed the face of that offensive line. He was a part of the rejuvenation down there. Obviously, they took him, and then was it a year later they go and get DeCastro, and then from there they just continue to build it up. So I think that definitely plays a huge role.
Like, I don't think I was big on us getting Bud either, and like that's turned out pretty good. So, I mean, after the fact, yes, I'm good with Claypool. I'm just gonna trust the process. That's all. I'm gonna trust Colbert, dude.
You are funny, bro.
You are. So it was a good pick for them. Dobbins was a good pick.
It was a great pick for them, man.
And then, like you said, with I don't know if you mentioned this with Duvernay, they just need receivers.
Yes, yeah.
And a lot of people are saying this guy's a sleeper, so they need receivers. You pair
him up with Hollywood out there too, man. So that's definitely gonna help.
Yeah, I don't know who their second receiver is gonna be because I was looking. They have Boykin, who they drafted, I think, last year in the 3rd round. He didn't really do anything. And then they also have.
I forget who the other guy was.
Willie Snead.
That's what it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he's getting up there in age too. Yeah. So.
But they still got Mark Andrews. Because remember, their tight ends had a ton of action last year. That was part of their offense too.
No, definitely. Yeah. But either way, they need a receiver. Their draft was really good. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think they hit on everything they needed to, and they got talent. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm fitting the position that I need. They actually got talent.
And I also like how with Marshall Yonder retiring this year, they went out and they drafted in the 3rd and 4th round 2 guards, man. Tyree Phillips out of Mississippi State and then Ben Bredesen out of Michigan. So that we talked about the competition element of it, right? Bringing in more bodies to compete for spots instead of just giving guys positions, which we did in Pittsburgh in terms of drafting a guy, signing Stephen. I thought that was huge, and they did the exact same thing. And to do that with 3rd and 4th round picks, I thought that was pretty good by them. I mean, they had a ton of draft picks compared to what we had, man. So
no, they did.
They definitely did. Well, they hit.
And that was one of the things I was going to ask. I guess maybe we could focus on when we rank them. Are we going to be considering the whole Minka thing, or no? It's just going to be draft.
You know how I feel. I'm not.
I don't really want to either. Yeah. But if we were, I think that would bump us up a little higher.
But it's hard to do that. Like, I feel like people try to justify, but I'm like, if we're gonna do that, then we need to go down the rabbit hole of every team that traded away a player or traded away a draft pick for a player. Like, I feel like we want to say it in Pittsburgh this year to like make us sound better, but then when we say, okay, we're gonna do that for the Ravens, or we're gonna do that for the Browns, or we're gonna do that for the Bengals, now it's like, oh no, we ain't doing all that now. We're not
right.
Going
yeah. What I guess the Brown. When did they trade for? Or what did they trade for?
Right.
Though?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we would literally have to go through.
That would have been if we were ranking them last year.
And then they said, well, also if we're going to talk about adding Minka to this class, I've seen people say we got to add Devin Bush because he was a part of the 3rd. Remember what they traded up to get him? No, serious. That's that. So are we? If we're gonna go there, we gonna really go there.
Yeah. Like I said, then we'd start after talking about Odell Beckham and everything with the Browns.
Steelers fans, I love Steelers fans. You know that, but we joke about this all the time. Like when it comes time to make themselves feel better about something, we're gonna pull up everything. Man, Minka's our 1st round pick. I'm like, bro. Minka was already in the league. He was already a proven commodity after that 1 year in Miami. Mm-hmm. It's totally different than when you're drafting somebody that you've never seen play in the league before.
Right.
Minka's going to be, I think he's 23 or he's going to be 23. He's like,
because that's what I'm saying. If we were going off that, I mean, you would just put Steelers 1. Right. Because I have a proven All-Pro.
Correct.
None of these guys are proven. Right. So we want, for the sake of this case.
Because otherwise we're going to have to go through and look at everybody that got traded away for Cincy, Cleveland, and Baltimore and rank it that way too. I don't want to do that. I'm sure you don't want to do that. I'm sure Steelers fans don't want to do that.
It's too much.
So let's stop trying to pull that out and we'll be all right.
All right. So we want to go Bengals or Browns here?
Let's go Bengals. Okay. Keep it, alphabetical order.
Okay, cool.
All right. So obviously, man, I thought they probably had the best draft in the AFC North, but I think
it's tough just because their ranking versus the Ravens going into the draft. They had the number 1 pick.
So they
had the number 33 pick.
The borderline first round pick. Yes. The quality, you got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins as your first 2 picks, but then I love the Logan Wilson pick out of Wyoming. This cat can ball.
Okay.
Like ball, man. Sideline to sideline, productive, catches picks, does it all. Like crazy.
I'm gonna trust you on that.
Dude, can ball. Like I was listen, man. You know how
my voice is cracking.
You know how I feel about my.
I don't know what's going on.
Get some more water in your system, man. But like, man, when I talk about my linebackers, like he's one of them guys. I'm like, okay, I like this cat. I think he's gonna do something special.
Okay.
And then also Akeem Davis Gaither out of App State. He's another guy. Like I felt like what Akeem brings to the table. So if Logan is your Mike, right? He's more of your Luke Kuechly type.
Mm-hmm.
Akeem is gonna be that Sam Will 4-3 off ball linebacker that can cover, but at the same time he blitzes a ton and is very productive. So how we talk about Vince Williams, right? How that's our blitzing linebacker. That's what this guy is. But is less about necessarily scheming him up for some free blitzes and more so he's rushed against tackles and won like at a high clip. So that's another thing where I'm like, dude, and when you talk about their defense, they need linebackers. They need help on defense. So I thought that those two picks in terms of Logan and Akeem are huge. But like I said, obviously bringing Joe Burrow in as their quarterback, they needed that. Him versus Andy Dalton, however you want to slice it, we all know it's going to be Joe Burrow because that's the first round pick.
Are they still talking about bringing Dalton back?
Man, yes. Man, it was some more reports from Bengals camp that, hey, it's no guarantee that Joe Burrow is going to be the starter this year. He's going to compete. It was like, yo, get out of here, man. Trade Dalton. We all know.
It's time to move on.
When you draft a guy number 1 overall,
he's not a free agent, is he?
No, I think he has 1 year left.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. I did not know that.
Yes.
I did not know. I thought he was a free agent.
Mm-hmm. So,
wow.
So they're talking about that. Then obviously you still have AJ Green on the roster, but you're bringing in T. Higgins, and we all know what T. Higgins is, man.
Yeah, you got to get rid of Dalton. Like you have to. You're bringing in a new era here. Mm-hmm. That's not going to necessarily go over well. Dude, what's interesting with the linebackers that you mentioned, everyone was saying that they're pretty solid too, but they don't have any really linebackers on their roster that you're feeling too good about. They got this dude. I was looking him up. Jermaine Pratt. He started 9 games last year. Yeah. His numbers were pretty decent, but then the other two, Jordan Evans, he's more of like a reserve role guy, special teams, and then Josh Bynes, who's been in the league for a while. He's
shout out to Josh. Man.
Yeah, he's performed in his roles that he was given. But
even when he went to Baltimore last year, he was very productive there. Man, he came on and hopped on the moving train. Obviously, we spent time at AZ together, but crazy, smart, cerebral guy. Just not the athlete, not the caliber of player some of these other guys.
And that's kind of what they're saying right now, that these 2 linebackers, maybe even the 7th round pick, but I think that's just kind of fan hype maybe, that they could come in now and start for the team and be like long-term starters. So if that's the case, that's obviously something that they needed, and they're a rebuilding team. Obviously Burrow and Higgins start something fresh there on offense. I mean, Higgins, Boyd, and AJ Green, Joe Mixon, if Burrow can keep it together, that's not bad for them.
Well, and I really want to know what the plan will be for Dalton, because he's supposed to, I think, make 17.5. He has this year. This is the last year of his deal, and then I think it's an option for 2021.
This is wild.
Yeah, so it's like if he's making 17.5 now. Granted, with Joe being on a rookie deal is different, but it still was the number 1 overall pick, so he's still going to cost. It's not like the traditional cheap of late first round or second round. Like, this dude's still going to have a number associated with it.
What would you do if you're the Bengals?
Well, for me, we always preach depth. So if Joe comes in, and this isn't a traditional all season, right? So he's not going to get the OTAs. He's probably not going to get the full training camp. That's asking of a lot. That's asking a lot to just throw him out there without that full off season. So you could use Andy, similar situation like how we saw Tyrod and Baker. Andy the first couple of games until Joe gets up to speed, and then you throw Joe out there. Mm-hmm. Or you could just bet the whole house on it and say, hey, get rid of Dalton.
That's what I would do.
Hope for the best with Joe. And then if Joe falls flat on his face, now you got to eat it for a whole season.
And I don't know how. I mean, he seems like a pretty confident guy, but you don't know.
Confidence would kill you, man.
You don't know what that could do with your confidence facing the Steelers defense and the Ravens defense,
even the Browns defense.
Yeah,
think about that, man.
I think it's easy to say that those 3 teams are head and shoulders above the Bengals right now.
You see them twice a year.
So throwing him in the fire against those teams right off the bat, I don't know.
And your O-line still shaky.
That could definitely be interesting for his whole long-term.
O-line shaky. Still got a coach who's still learning his way in the NFL.
So I could see why they would. I mean, it's an interesting thing to think about, because I'm thinking Andy Dalton's gone, but would it be the wisest move? I don't know.
So that's the whole.
And everyone's thinking you're the first overall pick. You're just going to start day 1.
But it's a lot that goes into that thing, man. So
yeah. So it could be more of an Eli Daniel Jones situation.
Yeah, even though I would say right now, Dalton is still a better quarterback than what Eli was at that point. I mean, Eli, we saw what he was at that point in his career. Like, it was time. It was time. You know what I mean? Whereas with Dalton, it's like Dalton this year, he dealt with the injuries, and then coach trying to play the game of, hey, let's start. What's his name? Ryan Finley? That was a quarterback they put out there. Yeah. And then when he switched it back to Dalton, Dalton lit it up again.
That's what I mean. That's what you're thinking too. Like, they already went off of Dalton last year, and put their team in a much worse position. So you're thinking, all right, Dalton's gone, but
because they say, well, we want to see what we have in Ryan Finley for some reason. And then after a couple of games of that, shout out to us, we benefited from him. We thank you.
Yeah.
And they went back to Dalton, and then I think Dalton won the next game that they put him back in on.
So. Yeah, he had like his typical stats.
Right.
Well, yeah,
and that was all without AJ. Too.
I mean, I think in general the Bengals draft was good too.
Yeah, but like you said, their draft position had definitely played a big role in that thing. Man.
Yeah,
when you're
some
picking
of the names, yes,
like that, you expect to hit it, and I feel like they definitely hit on a ton of those picks, man. All right, so now we go to Cleveland, and Cleveland. Let's see. I guess. Well, actually, the two picks that I definitely love were their top two guys. Jedrick Wills Jr., the tackle out of Alabama. They definitely need the offensive line help. He's huge. That's definitely going to be a big time pickup. Outside of, I think, Andrew Thomas, he was in the conversation to be the top two, top three tackles. So
yeah, they said they didn't expect him to be there. So.
Yeah, so that was huge. And that's him going at 10. So it says a lot for him. And then also Grant Delpit out of the safety out of LSU, he dropped on a ton of boards, more so because of his tackling. But when we talk about a guy who can cover, get picks, highly productive in that element, he brings that to the table.
Yeah.
He just has shaky tackling. So hopefully I think in the AFC North, that's a big concern just because the style of ball that's played in the AFC North. I mean, your safeties have to tackle.
Yeah.
So the fact that he struggles with that could be an issue right there. But I mean, in terms of his value, though, from just a coverage standpoint, I think that he's top notch in that regard. And then Jacob Phillips, man. Jacob Phillips was the Robin to Patrick Queen down there at LSU, man. So I definitely like that pick a lot. And to get him in the third round, too.
So what do you think? I was reading something that Phillips was a reach. I was reading something that they thought Phillips was a reach. But
see, for me, man,
you liked him?
I like that pick. I do. I just think, like, when we talk about reach, and this is a similar situation that could be said for Chase Claypool, right? People say, well, man, y'all kind of reached. He probably would have been there a little later. But the problem is when they were going to pick again, there's no guarantee that another team in between those 10 to 15 picks, it was going to be available to you like that. So sometimes you do have to go ahead and say, look, let me just get this guy now, because there's no guarantee that next round, by the time I pick in the next round, it's not like with Cincinnati, for example, where they're picking 1, 2 at the beginning of every round. Like the Browns, they weren't doing that.
Right. Well, and that's the most interesting thing about the whole reach or these guys had a bad draft. I mean, look at last year. Most were thinking the Raiders had like a top 20 draft or, they were below average or average draft, which they ended up having hands down the best draft class last year. And then you have
you're reaching for these guys.
Daniel Jones getting the F grade and like D's and C's. People are saying that was a complete reach. And now if he would have came out, you would have taken him number 1 overall if he was coming out this year. Absolutely. So that's kind of the whole interesting thing with the reach. Like if you like your guy and he's competent, like it's tough to judge right now, really.
And we're not talking the difference of a 3 round, like, hey, we have a 4th round grade and this guy, we're taking him in the 2nd. That's different. But with these guys, if they all have that 2nd round grade or that 1st round grade, but it's a difference of, he's a top 10 versus a top 20 guy. Like, I don't mind reaching and just taking the guy that I really want right here.
Right.
People say, well, you could trade back. Well, trade back is still risky. There's no guarantee that that's going to work out for you. So if you really love the guy and you feel like, hey, man, he's going to play out for us, go ahead and get the guy. So.
Yeah. It seems like the Browns had a pretty good draft too. I mean, everyone's saying.
I think the AFC North, man, as a whole.
That was the thing whenever it comes to ranking them. I mean.
You ain't gonna like that, huh?
Dude, it's tough. I mean, they had more picks. Every team had a 1st round pick.
Well, so that's fine, but I'm just trying to figure out, like, because you ranked ours as an A. So.
I know.
It's not a lot of room.
No, well, I'm going to put an A+ for the Ravens.
Okay.
And I'm going to give Browns and Bengals an A too.
Yeah.
So that's what grade of A between us, the Browns, and the Bengals. I mean, they had 1st round picks, man. So their draft's going to look better right now.
So does that mean that their draft grade is ranked higher then?
I'll give them a 94, and I'll give us 93.
Fair enough then.
93.5.
Fair enough. Because I was sitting here, I gave us a B, and I was like, man, I thought we still hit like. And that's the thing that's funny. We talk about a B.
I'm an easy grader, dude.
But it was. I was laughing to myself because I was like, dang, man, like we said a B. And I'm like, a B is still like good as heck. Like, what are we talking about
dude,
here? Like,
no, dude. I was looking today where everyone had all these draft classes ranked, and they had Steelers at a B.
I saw a
like
B,
in the 20s,
B minus,
like in the 20s, like when you compare them to all the other teams. So I don't know. I think everyone else is easy graders these days too.
Well, no, I think you hit though when you talk about not having a first round pick. Like, it's a difference when we're saying our best player in this draft is Chase Claypool versus the Browns saying, well, we had Jedrick Wills,
right,
and Grant Delpit, or Bengals saying they got Joe Burrow and T Higgins. Like,
well, yeah, and I was gonna bring this up too. In a vacuum, if I'm saying Steelers A, I just, with what we had, this is what I thought we did.
In their situation, it was A for
right.
them.
If you're stacking it up against other teams, that's when you just got to be real about it. And like, damn, like they all had first round picks. They all hit their needs and got talented players. So I'm not gonna really knock them for that. Because
like for the Ravens, I say the Ravens get an A+ draft, and here's the thought process behind it. Obviously, the names we named at the top end were dope, but when you have that many picks, I think they had 11 picks. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10?
Yeah, their team's already really good.
Right,
they just
but I felt like they added a ton of quality players, a ton of competition to some of these other positions as well. I thought that was huge, man. So that's why for me, I'm like, yeah, that's an A+. And the fact that with all the needs that they need, and we talk about linebacker, that's a home run with Patrick.
He's gonna start.
That's there.
Their defense is already good.
Yeah, and then when you bring in JK, like we already talked about the benefit of that. So for me, that's why I said they're at A+. I have the Bengals at an A, just a regular A. But even with them, I still flirt with the idea of A+. My whole concern with them is, okay, with the Joe Burrow thing, how are we going to see that play out? Like, do you feel that he is the new wave, the face of the franchise? Like, can he be that guy?
Yeah, that's kind of your question.
Right, that's my biggest question with him.
You picked a different quarterback, but if you're thinking, just kind of like we said, if you like your guy, you like your guy. Right. We'll see how it plays out.
Because the whole debate right now could have been, okay, we understand what Joe Burrow did that last year in college, but if Tua is healthy, do you like him over Tua realistically? And that's the whole debate. So in my mind, that's my thing. I'm just kind of torn between that right there.
Right.
But I don't fault them for making that.
Yeah, if you
because
like,
that's
the thing. If you like your guy, I mean, Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins is the perfect
prime example.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You need a quarterback, take your guy.
Yeah. And now for the Browns, I wanted to give them a B+, but I was like, man, I really like Grant. I thought that he could ball
You go
out.
A-?
Yeah, I'm going A-. I was like, I can't go B. I don't want to put them at an A because I don't view them in the same vein as Cincinnati and Baltimore, but I felt like their draft was still better than just a B. And that was why I thought with these guys. Yeah. And also, man, I think that Harrison Bryant, the tight end they got out of Florida Atlantic, he's a tweener type guy, but definitely can create mismatches in space, man, in terms of like, because I'm anticipating I don't think he's going to play receiver because I don't know if he's fast enough to be a receiver. But at the same time, I don't really think he's big enough to be a tight end. So I'm anticipating him being kind of like that, not even an H-back type, but just the guy they're going to be moving around to create mismatches with. And he's going to draw the third guy, the third corner, or the linebacker right here. And I think those are matches that he can definitely thrive in.
Well, they don't have any depth behind Odell and Jarvis. So there's that.
Well, they did pick up Njoku's option, though.
Okay, so they have Njoku though at tight end plus Hooper, and they got Jarvis and Odell. So that's what I'm saying. This guy could somehow fill that flex role where
he's going to get very favorable matchups in that role.
Right, because I'm assuming this guy, this Vikings guy, he was the Vikings coordinator coming in. He's going to want to use some of those two tight end sets.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I'm assuming this guy's going to be the third one, and in case one of them goes down, he's still going to be able to do that because they got Chubb and
absolutely, bro.
You got your two main guys at receivers. So
because their backfield, with Chubb and Hunt now, because Hunt's going to be back for the whole season, whereas last year he was half of the year.
Some of their formations could be interesting. So we'll see what happens with them.
But either way, man, I think the AFC North as a whole got better. I think that they definitely, all the teams that we listed, man, they all hit on major things, man. Some just had a lot more picks than others, but I feel like everybody really, really hit and got better. And I think the AFC North is going to be even more exciting next year, barring injuries, because obviously the Bengals last year with Billings, he get hurt, remember, and goes on IR before the season even starts. So I think barring anything like that happening, I think the AFC North is going to be a fun division to watch, man.
It's definitely going to be interesting. You're seeing these memes and little pictures that are being made. Have you seen it where we got 3 Heismans and Ben in the division here. You know what? You should probably switch that up and show that the other 3 don't have Super Bowl championships, and we got Ben with 2 rings.
Come on, man. You know Heisman sounds better, bro. Everybody loves a Heisman.
Let's see. I mean, we will put Lamar up there because he's got an MVP at least, like in Ben's class a little bit, at least for this season coming up, not career. But the other 2, come on, give me a break. We haven't. I know I was big on Burrow, but he hasn't proven anything. Now
I just love how you flip-flop it all the time.
Now he's going to the Bengals. It's going to be a tough road for him. And Baker, I mean, he had a bad last season. So let's stop acting like, oh, these guys, Heisman and everything. And then
they be throwing RG3, and I'm like, oh, all right, that's what we doing.
Oh, man.
We got 3 Heisman trophies on the same team. Oh, all right, cool, all right.
I don't really know who was making those. If it was actually Steeler fans making them or not, I can't really remember.
Oh,
but I just wanted to say that.
I could dig it, man. I could dig it.
But I mean, that is interesting. Like, even though I'm making fun of it a little bit, like you got 3 big names, and you got Big Ben coming back. Like it's gonna be really interesting.
It's gonna be an exciting division to watch, man. Offense, defense across the board. Like it's gonna be fun, man. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about it. I know everybody else gonna be excited about it too, man.
Unfortunately, we both got in terms of draft. I'll just say this: they won the battle, not the war.
We haven't got to the war yet. Man, we building up.
They won the draft class battle right now, but how much is it going to matter during the regular season? We'll see.
So you'll say how much is it going to matter, but Chad, we talk about how we're going to need some of our players to step up. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
How much though?
What? Chase Claypool, Anthony McFarland, yeah.
I'm hoping so, yeah. We got 3 receivers, though.
Highsmith, he going to need to do it, potentially.
I'm hoping so. But, I mean, let's see within the Steelers structure, though. I think we could potentially groom our guys a little better than these other teams. Although I'll give credit to the Ravens, the Bengals and Browns have proven as organizations, though they're a little helter-skelter on that type of stuff. Ravens I would have way more faith in the Ravens developing their guys.
Absolutely. I like it, man.
All right, so we ranked 4th. We both agree we rank 4th right now.
Yes, unfortunately. But we're gonna do another ranking once the season gets here, and then we square away that way, baby.
What do you mean? Just
we'll do our power ranking.
Yeah, well, this is just draft class, right?
Yeah, so we're good, man. We're good. So I like it, man. So
are we wrapped up here?
We're good here, man.
We ready to roll. We're
Absolutely,
ready to transition into the.
We're good.
The new exciting thing we have coming up.
Yes, indeed, man. So interview time coming up, man. So make sure that you're tuning in, man. We got Kavon Walker.
Dude, wait, you know what?
What's up?
It's actually Savon.
Oh, Savon.
Dude, no joke.
Oh, I'm glad you found out that.
No
Excuse
joke.
me, Savon Walker.
I think everyone has thought it's Kavon.
Yeah, so we got Savon Walker, man. Recently signed D-tackle to the Steelers out of the XFL, man. So definitely going to enjoy this interview, man. Make sure you stay tuned, baby. And appreciate everybody for listening, as always, and the viewers. So until next time.
Peace.